Hi everyone, it's Lynnea for LDRS Creative, and I am showing the Honeycomb Slimline cover plate from HSN. I'm going to be giving you a detailed look at this cover plate die, and then we'll be creating a card. So this die cuts a panel that is about 8¼ by 3¼ inches, so you can easily layer this onto any size of slimline card. This die is going to cut a honeycomb pattern into a piece of cardstock, as well as these cute little bees. They're little flying stitched lines, and then there's some flowers too. So I've cut this out of multiple pieces of cardstock just so you can see this detail. Here's how it's going to cut out. I've cut this out of black. I also have a panel cut out of white, and then I have a light yellow and a dark yellow. These are so cute, and don't forget that you can cut this out of specialty papers like glitter or foiled cardstock, or even pattern paper if you want a little bit of extra texture. Now here's where the magic really happens. I have the same pieces of cardstock just cut to 8½ by 3½, so it's going to be slightly larger than the panel. But look at how that honeycomb slimline cover plate die comes to life when you layer a piece of colored cardstock behind the die. You can really see all of those little details, and I just think this is an adorable cover plate die. Because this pattern is twisted and turned, you can use this in a vertical format or a horizontal format. So my card today is going to be horizontal, but don't forget that you can always make this stand upright the way it's pictured on the screen now. I'm going to switch these cover plate dies around so that you can see how the different patterns look layered on top of a different color. Never be afraid to mix and match. As I was thinking out an idea for the card I'm going to create, I cut a whole bunch of these out and kind of mixed and played with the colors of the cardstock so that I found the one that I liked the best. And the one that I was most drawn to was the white cover plate die cut with the dark yellow background. I have some additional items from my stash. I used an alphabet die set to cut out the letters for the words "be mine," and of course "be" is spelled with 2 E's so that it'll make a pun that corresponds with that honeycomb slimline cover plate die. And I'm going to arrange these onto my card so that I just kind of get a good idea of where they're going to look. I cut them from a dark pink cardstock because I wanted to create a Valentine's Day card, and so I wanted to have a little pop of pink somewhere here. I've also stamped and colored some cute little bees, and this is all the same bee image, but it looks different depending on how you turn it. So some of these bees are going to be kind of looking straight up into the air, some of them are going to look left and right. Just play with your products. That is one of the biggest tips that I can give you when you're designing a card, is to sit down and play, move things around and see what looks good and what needs to be changed. As I was laying out the design for my card, I realized I did need to make a change. I loved that dark yellow background, but the letters for my sentiment weren't standing out enough. So I cut a piece of vellum to be the same size as the honeycomb slimline cover plate die cut, so 3¼ by 8¼ and I've just glued that white die cut piece onto the vellum, and then I added both those pieces onto that dark yellow cardstock. Now I'm using a T-square ruler, and I'm just going to go ahead and adhere my sentiment down. Each of these letters are separate, so I'm just going to use my eyes and just eyeball it and make sure that the letters are equally spaced and that everything's lined up properly. I told you before that I cut a bunch of these cover plate die cuts just so that I could see what they looked like. A big tip that I can give you when you're working with this die is to keep all these inner pieces. You can keep the flowers, the little pieces for the bees, and the honeycomb pieces. I love to piece these pieces back together. It just gives a little bit of dimension, a little pop of extra color. You could even change these colors up. Let's say you wanted to inlay some black cardstock into the bees or some pink into the little honeycomb pieces. That would be super cute as well. So I just arranged a little pattern quite randomly. There is no rhyme or reason to how many or where I inlaid those honeycomb pieces back into the design. I did glue them flat, but another option is to pop them up. I wanted to pop up the little bees, so I'm using some foam tape for them. And then I'm going to come in with just a few various embellishing tools for my card to bring a little bit of sparkle and a little bit of magic to my card. I'm going to start with a shimmer pen, and this is just a watercolor brush pen that has some shimmer in it, so it's not going to change the color of my cardstock or anything. It's just going to be some shimmer. I'm going to go over the letters for my sentiment, as well as the dark yellow hexagon pieces that I added back in to my design. That's just going to bring a little bit of extra shimmer to my project. Another option would be to add a glossy lacquer effect to these die cut letters. That would be really fun too. To finish off this card, I added some pink gems here and there just to brighten up that card, and this project is finished. I hope you've enjoyed this card and that it inspires you to use the LDRS Creative Slimline Honeycomb Cover Plate die sold at HSN. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!